Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me as always is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the internet, coming to you live from right here in the Stream.tv studios here in Hollywood, California. We are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
We also have joining us AMC's Mary Jetikin.
Hello, everyone. Why do you always laugh at me? You always laugh at me. I don't know.
We also have AMC's production manager, Mr. Dennis Zane.
I haven't been here since Monday, and I just want to, congratulate the Kings for performing the reverse sweep and coming back from 0-3, only the fourth team in NHL history.
In history.
Yes.
And here for the day and off to New York, our AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Almost said John twice.
Hey guys, it's John.
Miss John Eisenbach.
John Campea.
Almost did it twice.
You're leaving tonight to go to New York to cover the Godzilla junket for us.
I get to talk to my main man Bryan Cranston again. No complaints there.
That's a good day.
It's a good day.
All right, guys, speculation online began swirling when former Hulk TV star Lou Ferrigno claimed that Hulk was the one who saved the day in the first Avengers movie and then went on to say the following. Now, because he saved the day, they're making another solo Hulk movie after the second Avengers comes out. Avengers Age of Ultron hits AMC theaters on May 1st, 2015. John, is there another Hulk movie coming?
Oh, Lou, I love you, but shut up. I mean, Lou Ferrigno doesn't know what's coming. Lou Ferrigno does not sit on the Privy Council of the High King Kevin Feige over at the Castle Marvel. I mean, he doesn't know this stuff. Like, and no way is he the one they're whispering this stuff to. What I really think is happening here, I don't think Lou is trying to dissuade or is trying to deceive anybody either. I just think he's saying what he thinks. But a lot of people saw that comment the way that it was worded, and it's understandable that if you read it a certain way, it looks like Lou Ferrigno saying, I have heard that they are making a new Hulk film. And while I do believe that at some point in the future, it's inevitable that we're going to get another Hulk film, we already know the next 5 Marvel films that are lined up that are coming out, and they do not involve the Hulk. Well, they may involve the Hulk, but none of them are Hulk films. So I think this is more a case of Ferrigno just saying what he thinks, and it may be being taken the wrong way. That's the way I choose to look at it at any rate. Dennis, what do you think?
I agree with you. I think it's more of a... He probably had heard something maybe after Avengers came out in like 2012 that they had like talked about doing another movie, and that's probably what he's remembering. So
yeah, maybe.
I think eventually we'll see another movie. It'll probably be in Phase 4 or something like that. I know they talked about a TV series, but I don't think that would work because it would just be too expensive to create the Hulk every single episode in CG. Yeah. And people would complain if he wasn't in every episode. So I think there will be another solo movie, but probably Phase 4.
Amy Rose?
Yeah, I love you, Lou, but you're not in the Marvel circle of trust. And this kind of just proved why they wouldn't tell him anyway, because he obviously would have blabbed it out. So, yeah, I don't think we'll see it, but I do think that Mark Ruffalo deserves one. He is my favorite, incarnation of the Hulk. So I'd like to see it, but I don't think this is any indication that it's coming anytime soon.
Mary?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think critically and commercially, Mark Ruffalo was sort of the fan favorite. He was the critical favorite.
Yep.
In the Avengers. I think he did a great job. I would love to see him have a standalone movie, just my own little personal fangirl thing. But I do agree. I don't think a Hulk movie is in the near future, unfortunately.
All right, what's next?
More importantly, how do we get to Castle Marvel?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got totally sidetracked when you started talking about Castle Marvel. All right, in a recent interview, Spider-Man producers Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach were asked if we could ever see a non-Peter Parker Spider-Man on the big screen. In various comic incarnations, different people like Ben Reilly, Miles Morales, and Miguel O'Hara have used the moniker. However, the producers quickly shot the idea by simply answering no. Arad expanded on the answer by saying the following: the one thing you cannot do when you have a phenomena that has stood the test of time, you have to be true to the real character, inside who is Peter Parker. What are the biggest effects on his life? Then you can draw in time and you can consider today's world in many ways. But to have multiple ones, I don't know if you remember, but Marvel tried it. And it almost was the end of Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is playing on AMC theaters now. Amy Rose, what are your thoughts on the producer's comments?
I think it's a little bit of a cop-out. I think that if you do, look, we're getting to, Ant-Man's on the screen soon. Like, if you do it right and you make a clear distinction of the storyline, and I just think that a couple of those different incarnations of Spider-Man are a little riskier. Peter Parker is the wholesome hero, a couple of those are kind of the anti-hero. We all know what happened. I would have liked to see the Clone Saga on the screen. Yeah. That would have been really, really cool. I just think that if they would have had the right writers and team behind it, it could have been a really cool thing. And I mean, we're seeing Sinister Six, Venom. Why wouldn't they take this storyline as well? So I would have liked to see it, but it doesn't mean it's not ever going to happen. But right now, I think Peter Parker has proven that that's the Spider-Man they want to show. So
See, to me, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. It's one person. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And this whole notion, like, remember a while ago after the death of Superman, there were like 4 Supermen? Remember that? There was the Android, the Kryptonian, there was Steel, there was Superboy. None of them were Superman. They all just kind of borrowed that title, but none of them were Superman. Clark Kent, Kal-El is Superman. That is one person. And I keep trying to say this too, but a lot of people will often try to bring up the whole idea of Batman, what's the future Batman one? I keep forgetting the name of it for whatever
Beyond.
reason. Yeah, Batman Beyond, saying, oh, Batman Beyond, the one that's set 50 years in the future. No, because moviegoers, which represent the 99% of people who have no idea what Batman Beyond is, when you tell them Batman, that's Bruce Wayne. Just because somebody else took the moniker and wore it, that doesn't mean they're Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So, I mean, I agree with Aria completely. It would be a really stupid move. Now, that's not to say, now I'm going to sound like I'm contradicting myself here a little bit, but follow me here. If you were to change, say, Peter Parker and make Peter Parker Hispanic, still make him exactly the way he should be, high school science nerd, kind of an outsider, death of his relative, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff, but you just change his ethnicity, I'm totally cool with that. That's fine with me. But don't change that it's Peter Parker.
You wouldn't want to see Miguel O'Hara in that situation then?
No, I mean, because that's a different character. That's not Spider-Man anymore. That's just another guy who happens to grab the title Spider-Man and strap it on his chest too. But Peter Parker is Spider-Man to me. So anyway, that's just the way I see it. I agree with the producers on this. So anyway, Dennis, how do you see it?
I wouldn't mind seeing another Spider-Man, as long as they don't kill off Peter Parker and do kind of what we've been speculating about Captain America. Maybe Steve Rogers goes away and Bucky Barnes takes over as Captain America. I wouldn't mind seeing that for Spider-Man. I didn't like the Clone Saga. I wouldn't want to see Ben Reilly. I don't think 2099 is going to work. Maybe Miles Morales. I like his character and I like his backstory. So maybe if they brought him in and they did that for maybe a movie or two, I wouldn't mind it.
I like parallel universes. I would like multiple Spider-Mans and multiple universes all happening at once, like they do it in the comic books. I don't think that's going to happen in film. I agree with you. I think Avi Arad is talking specifically about a film audience, and it's a very different audience than people who regularly and religiously read comic books.
Yeah.
When I interviewed Stan Lee, the one time I got to interview him, which was amazing, he did say that out of all the characters he's ever written, the one he related to the most was Peter Parker. That Peter Parker was the closest to who he felt he was. And I think that says something about Peter Parker, too, that he's very relatable. He's the kind of guy a lot of guys and girls can relate to because he's a bit of an outsider when we meet him, and he's a high school student trying to make things work, and he grows into what he becomes. And I just think that Peter Parker and the alter ego in general in superhero movies tends to be something that audiences do rely on as a trope. So I agree with you. I think they're kind of sticking to the safe.
It's safe. It's safe.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about Green Lantern? Do you feel that way about all of them? You wouldn't want to see the other. Really?
Like, that's why I often say, like, when the Green Lantern stuff comes out, like, for instance, Jon Stewart, right?
Yeah.
There are many Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Guy
Exactly.
Gardner, Kyle Rayner,
Yeah.
Jon Stewart, all these types of guys. And that's all great. But to me, there
Hal
is
Jordan.
one definitive Green Lantern. That is Hal Jordan. And that's why for a guy like me, not that it should be like this for everybody, but for me, I want Hal Jordan as Green Lantern. I don't want to see Guy Gardner
like
as Green
diversity.
Lantern. Well, I mean, diversity is good and everything, but it's separating the mantle from the character, right? And to me, Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. Now, what will often come up too, some people will say to me, but John, there is some incarnation of the comics where that happens, so you can do it in the movie. There is a Superman comic where he fights a pot. A pot that comes to life.
It's also a different medium.
It's
it's
completely different medium.
So you're dealing with film, you're dealing with it's 2D, it's 3D. I mean, it's like comparing apples to oranges in a way. So I think he's talking specifically about film.
I do think Green Lantern is a different story, though.
I do too.
Yeah, because there are many.
There
of them.
There
it's a
is the
core.
Green Lantern
Yeah.
core. Yeah,
So
you're absolutely right.
You could do that. With Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. They are singular characters.
Yeah, and kind of synonymous with who their guys are. But you're right about the Green Lantern. That does make it a different scenario. I shouldn't equate the two so clearly.
But can we just get one Wonder Woman?
Yeah,
just
can we
one.
make it
Yes.
Just get one.
Just one Wonder Woman.
And you know, in the comics, there are multiple Wonder.
Yes.
Diana was Wonder Woman for a
Well,
while.
speaking of
Then
the Amazons,
Artemis
yeah.
became Wonder Woman for a while, and
I love that. I want to see. Can I just say I want to see a Wonder Woman movie that is an origin story. That is how Wonder Woman became Wonder Woman. I think it's a great story. When Warner came out with the DC movies, that was when they do the animated movies, the Wonder Woman one, it was my favorite, even though it didn't sell that well. I love the story.
Preach into the choir,
story.
sister. We're
Yes.
waiting. We are waiting.
All
Wonder
right,
Woman movie.
it is time for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Chris Lee's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Amy Rose, Dennis, Miri, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Focus Features has set October 2nd, 2015 as the release date for the upcoming Olympus Has Fallen sequel, London Has Fallen. In the new film, the British Prime Minister has passed away under mysterious circumstances. His funeral is a must-attend event for leaders of the Western world, but what starts out as the most protected event on Earth turns into a deadly plot to kill the world's most powerful leaders. Only 3 people have any hope of stopping it: the President of the United States, his formidable Secret Service head, played by Gerard Butler, and an English MI6 agent who rightly trusts no one. Miri, buy or sell the sounds of London Has Fallen?
Sell. I'm so not excited about this idea. I mean, look, this movie did one of those interesting things that 90s action movies did, and it came out really close to White House Down, which was sort of basically the same plot, where the White House is taken. This movie made a lot of money for what it cost, and it cost a lot less than White House Down. So financially, I get it. The studios need to make something that they feel is going to make money. The first one made money. The second one will make money. I didn't like it, and I don't need to see it happen again in a different place. I think Die Hard did that to death, no pun intended. And I'm kind of, let's do something else. I'm selling it.
Buy! I buy this. Absolutely. I saw White House Down first. Awful,
Yeah,
awful,
neither of them were.
awful movie. It's so terrible. So that might have had some impact, because when I went into finally watching Olympus Has Fallen, my expectations were, they weren't going to be high anyway, but they went really, really low. I loved it. I had a lot, to me, and I'm glad you brought up the analogy about the 90s action film.
Yeah.
It really felt like they were using the boilerplate of a 90s action film. Super hyper violent, really gory. I thought the action in it was great. I loved the main hero. There was a lot of campiness and corniness to it. I actually really ended up really enjoying myself watching it. And I think if you take a same kind of borderline campy approach, and they kind of wink at themselves a little bit, acknowledging the ridiculousness of now taking that and bringing it into London, I think this could be a winner. So because I like the first one so much, for me, it's a buy. Dennis?
Surprisingly, I'm gonna buy this despite
Really? Of
course, the guys wanna buy it.
despite not. I didn't really care for the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't really care for it. I actually, in the opposite of you, I liked White House Down. I thought
Really?
I thought it was.
Go Dennis!
I think because it was so silly that they meant to do it, where Olympus Has Fallen wasn't silly enough. I think it took itself a little too seriously.
Totally.
But I am interested in seeing the sequel. I think maybe if they camp it up some more, it'd be more fun to watch. And then about Die Hard, I think maybe the reason why I want to see this is because the last Die Hard was so un-Die Hard
Yeah.
that I'm like
Yeah.
yearning to see another
A Die Hard.
Die Hard. Like maybe I'm just so desperate for something like that that I'm
But
giving
there's
this
no
a
John
chance.
McClane in London, and London Has Fallen.
I really like the Butler character.
I think you just named the next film, Un-Die Hard.
Yes.
Die Hard.
That's pretty good. I'm also going to sell it. Very happily
Yes.
going to sell it. I think you nailed it. White House Down was supposed to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a mindless popcorn flick. This was like, we're gonna save the world. Like it was just like it was still a mindless, fun popcorn flick. I just want popcorn at all times. So give me action on the screen. We're good to go. But this premise just sounds outrageous. It's just, I saw this in Homeland, and that was actually done really well. But all the political heads together, like no. So this sounds silly. It might still be a mindless good time. Well, I know it's gonna be a mindless. I don't know about the good time, but we'll see. So for now, it's a sell.
See, Olympus Has Fallen. You won't regret it. All right, What's next?
All right, fans of the recent film Dredd got excited when star of the film Carl Urban made a comment that sounded like a sequel to the film as a strong possibility. However, producer Adi Shankar seems to have shot down those hopes by saying the following: "I'm going to tread lightly here. I feel like Carl made a small statement that got blown way out of proportion by news sites. Yeah, there are conversations going on about making Dredd 2, but I wouldn't automatically go like, oh, there's conversations going on, so when's the release date? When there's no effing script." Dennis, buy or sell that we'll see a Dredd sequel.
I buy that eventually we'll see a Dredd sequel. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a theatrical release. I think maybe we'll see either a direct-to-DVD Blu-ray release or possibly a TV series, and we'll see Carl Urban in that role. But I don't know about theatrical because it did so poorly. And it did pretty well on, I think, Blu-ray and direct-to-DVD. I like Carl Urban. Unfortunately, his latest TV show got canceled, Almost Human.
Almost Human.
Which I thought had a lot of potential, but they kind of wasted it. So I'd be up for it.
Yeah, I sell that this is ever going to happen. You cannot. Money rules everything, and Dredd lost the studio a ton of money. It's their own fault because they had a really good movie and it was marketed terribly.
It wasn't marketed at all, I feel like.
And with the marketing they had, it was
invisible.
just brutally bad. Because I thought the movie looked horrible. I was so pleasantly surprised when I watched it. But they're not going to make another theatrical film of this. I don't even think you're going to see TV series with Carl Urban, because I heard Carl Urban talking about Almost Human after it went off air, and he said, yeah, doing a weekly show was exhausting. I don't think we'll see him want to go back to TV, to be honest, and I wouldn't blame him. It's some kind of incarnation of Dredd will always be back, but another theatrical film, specifically a sequel to this one, I don't think so. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I'm also going to sell the fact that we probably won't see it. We might see a VOD, but it would be a very cheap version, and I loved Dredd. Carl Urban was amazing, like the tone, everything, and you're right, it was not on nobody's radar. I just happened to waltz in there because I liked the material, and I was like, this is amazing. So I do think, it's a cult classic. It's become that. They had that petition to get the new one, and I mean, Carl Urban, is interested, but would he really do it if it was just going to be the smaller budget? So I don't think we'll see it theatrically either, and I'm disappointed in that.
So I'm going to obviously sell the idea that it's going to happen, but I'm going to buy the idea because I want it to happen.
Yeah.
Because I would like, I'm with you. I thought it was great. I went into theaters. It was actually one of those few moments of 3D that I actually enjoyed the 3D and thought they really utilized it well. And I love that they stayed much truer to the source material than obviously the Sylvester Stallone epaulettes, late 80s, early 90s version. But it's probably not going to happen, but that still doesn't mean I can't hold out hope.
Keep hope alive, Mary.
Leo Riley in the live chat board, because we do the show live, just wrote an interesting comment. He said, Dredd 2 script. Dredd kicks bad guy's ass and kills people very violently. There we go.
There you go.
Perfect.
The Dredd
Green
script.
light.
Green light. Give that film a green light. All right, what's next?
The new Tim Burton film, Big Eyes, has set a release date for December 25th. Big Eyes is a biopic of artist Margaret Keane, the painter whose distinctive creations featured big-eyed children, became one of art's first mass-market success stories in the 1950s. The drama covers Keane's personal awakening at the onset of the feminist movement, leading to a lawsuit she filed against her husband, Walter, who claimed credit for her works. He lives the high life while she toiled in relative anonymity in the Bay Area. Amy Adams, Christoph Waltz, and Danny Houston star in the film. John, buy or sell the sounds of Big Eyes?
Surprisingly enough, I'm going to buy this. I'm not a big Tim Burton fan, but this story sounds awesome. This story sounds great. I mean, not many people know Ann Campy actually writes everything for AMC Movie Talk, and I just take the credit for it. But no, I mean, seriously, this is a great sounding story. This is a great looking cast. And so even though I'm not the biggest Tim Burton fan in the world, I have to buy this. This sounds really good. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I'm also going to buy it. Those pictures actually freak me out. I hate the big eye things. But I completely remember when that started becoming a thing, and it's been, just kind of, I don't know, pushed in other mediums since then. And I still believe in Tim Burton. He's definitely had some missteps, we'll say nicely. But his earlier work is great. And this seems like a project with more meat and more soul and heart to it. And that's what I want to see him go back in, because he's really good at characters, just no more Johnny Depp in drag and makeup characters. I'd really like to see that. So I think this is exactly the kind of project, because the man has talent and he has a really good vision. So
a good sign that Tim Burton's gotten really desperate is that he's appearing in John Schnepp's new movie. So like, how low do you have to sing. I'm just saying.
Whoa, John
Mary?
Schnepp, and we trust.
Yes, I buy this. I actually am a big Tim Burton fan. I forgive him for Alice in Wonderland, kind of. But I am, like you, a fan of his early work, and I do believe this is, to your point, going back to kind of his earlier days where it was really more character-driven. This is a biopic. It's the story of a woman who's obviously, struggling and an artist and has these really creepy...
So creepy.
I keep looking at them. I'm like, stop looking at me, you
Clowns,
giant-eyed babies. You're weird. But I do think that the subject matter is, like you said, has more meat. But I also think the visual of these paintings is so on par with his aesthetic that it's something really beautiful could happen here. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I buy it.
All right, folks. Oh, wait a second. I didn't ask you what you thought. I do have to Schnepp all the time.
Dennis.
I will buy it because I think the story is interesting. And I'm also going to buy it because I want to see the paint off. Like apparently during the court proceedings, Margaret challenges her ex-husband to paint off. Like, oh, I really painted it, you didn't. And they were supposed to have it, and the husband cited a sore shoulder. That's why he couldn't continue. He had to bow out for those reasons.
Sounds like Butter. Did you ever see that film?
Yes, I actually really liked
Me
Butter.
too.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
The turn off.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Chrisley's got a couple of questions pulled out of the mailbag. And listen, if you're watching us live, you can tweet in some questions to us at AMC Movie News, and we'll get to a couple of those tweets at the end of the show. But for now, it's time for Mailbag. So, Chrisley, what do we have?
Sal Donoto writes, greetings and salutations, AMC Movie Talk crew. I hope all is well. I was wondering when you think the Avengers Age of Ultron trailer will drop. Come STCC time, or maybe a little after that. I know people are excited, but the trailer will really get us all buzzing even more. Thanks for all your time.
We won't have a trailer. I mean, the movie is literally a year away. So we're not going to have a trailer. They're still going to be shooting, I think, by the time San Diego Comic-Con comes around. So we're not going to get a trailer. They might put together a burner package for us. They might just throw something together like what they did for Guardians of the Galaxy at last Comic-Con, but like a trailer, I think that's still a ways off. Mary?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to drop it when they're going to drop it.
Yeah.
We'll see it. It's going to come. There's going to be lots of trailers. I can guarantee you that.
They
There'll
will
be
show
lots
us
of
something
teasers.
at Comic-Con.
Probably.
We'll see something, absolutely.
I would imagine
yeah.
even if it's like a 10-second clip or something,
Yeah.
they do that sometimes. But
they
I
showed
don't.
us a teaser at D23,
Yeah.
and it was just announced then. Like,
Yeah.
just announced. And it was literally just all of the characters back to back, and we were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that. It's a wasted opportunity.
Here's
That's
a
when your
10-second
biggest
clip
fans.
of Robert Downey Jr. eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
There.
They're going to have a Comic-Con
Yeah.
trailer,
Yeah.
which is basically cut up footage. They did that for Iron Man 2, where
Yeah.
they put together. It won't be this long, but the Comic-Con trailer for Iron Man 2 was like 3-4 minutes long, and then a month later they dropped a full trailer.
Yeah.
So I think they'll throw some sort of package together and then release a full trailer a little bit after.
It's a wasted opportunity. That's where all the big things happen.
Well, they want
and
buzz.
But
those are
it's
their
the
fans.
timing. You got to have
Yeah.
something that looks good, right? And
Yeah.
with that, where it's happening in their schedule, they're not going to be able to put together a really good, crisp trailer that they're
Yeah.
proud of.
A teaser.
Yeah, it won't
So-
be a
That's what I'm
full
expecting.
trailer.
They'll show people something
Yeah.
at Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
But then they're not going to release
Yeah.
that because
We're
they don't
hungry
want
already,
that to
so-
look good. They want the movie to look
Yeah,
good.
of course.
So,
Yeah.
all right, what's next?
Jonathan Bell writes, hey guys, love the show. I heard that Warcraft will finish shooting in under a month. Any chance of getting an earlier release, like fall 2015?
Well, I mean, the movie doesn't come out until 2016,
Yeah.
March 2016. So, I mean, just because they finished the movie 1 month early doesn't mean they'll move the release date 8 months up. But also keep in mind, when studios set their release dates, they don't look at, oh, when is the movie finished, and then that's when we'll release the film. They pick their release date very strategically.
Yep.
Like, maybe they make the right decision, maybe they make the wrong decision, but they actually have a brain trust of people who sit down and make these decisions about when would be the best time to release this film. And then they choose those release dates, and then they make filmmakers work to make sure they can meet those dates. It's not the other way around. So if they finish a little bit early, if they finish shooting in a month, if they finish shooting today, I don't think it would move the date one bit. Dennis?
Originally, they moved it because they had it at winter 2015, but
Yeah,
they
they
moved it
decided to
because
move it.
Star Wars had moved from their summer release date to the winter, and you're not going to go up against Star Wars,
suicide.
especially in the same kind of genre. So they moved it to March. I think that's a smart move. And yeah, if they do finish early, there's always more visual effects works that can be done even after
Yeah.
the film is quote unquote done. So I think if they do finish early, they will just spend more time on polishing it up.
Speaking of Star Wars, New show that we've got starting on Sunday, May the 4th. Make sure you join us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/AMC Theaters. Our new Star Wars show called AMC Jedi Council. It's going to be myself, Paul Lenz, former director of Lucas Online, Christian Harloff, who's obviously here with AMC, but also the host of Far, Far Away, and Kyle Newman, director of Fanboys, is going to be joining us for that. So join us on Sunday. Anyway, Amy Rose, I just want to get that plug in.
Fanboys. Yeah, it's obviously very strategic. I mean, sometimes films shoot years before they're released. It all depends, and if it does move up, it's also going to be strategic. It's not going to be, well, this is now an open slot. It's going up against no one. We have a good product here. Let's do this. I mean, we saw that with Ant-Man. We've seen that with a lot of different films. But again, it's not just like, let's just throw this here and here. There's always strategy behind it. The goal is always to make as much money as possible and to have as little competition as possible.
Yeah.
So for now, but I am really excited about this. I think Duncan Jones is the man to give us a very good video game adaptation finally.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
It's a big world, too, to choose from. Warcraft is so big. But
Yeah.
I also think you have to take into consideration that just because it finishes shooting doesn't mean that production is done. There's a whole
lots to
huge,
do.
there's months of post to do. The VFX on this are huge. It's going to take a long time. So even if they finish a bit ahead of schedule, there's already scheduled stuff happening for visual effects, for all the post-production stuff that has to happen, editing, sound, color, all that stuff. So, even if they finished early, they still probably have a very strict schedule of other things that have to happen when they happen.
It'll come out when it comes out. All right, folks, we've got a couple minutes left here, so we said we'd take a couple questions from Twitter. So Chris Lee is monitoring the Twitter stream. So Chris Lee, what are people saying in there?
Patrick Monahan wants to know, with JJ taking over Star Wars, will the next movies be darker and be rated PG-13 like Episode 3, or go back to a PG rating?
I have a feeling it'll be PG-13, because correct me, but I believe the Star Wars films have been PG-13. So I believe you'll probably see them a little edgier than what we saw in, say, Star Wars Piece of Trash 1 and Piece of Trash 2. So yeah, I think we'll see a little bit darker. I do. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I don't
A
think
little bit.
I don't think they would benefit from a rating other than PG-13, really.
No.
Yeah, like they're not going to go R.
Yeah, they can't.
But that would be sick.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
And it's not like,
not
it's not like
like
J.J.
that.
Abrams is like some dark direct. He's not like
Yeah.
Aronofsky or something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. He's, his stuff is still pretty light.
And the thing about it is you can have a dark tone and not be super bloody and super this. So it's
Yeah.
like you can get away with so much more nowadays. Not to mention when they were PG, the MPAA ratings and everything were very different as well. So
Yeah.
we really push it these days. You can get a lot in PG-13 that you couldn't say 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
there's no, I mean, it'd be my dark heart to see all the Siths and just badass stuff on the screen like going real dark, but no, it's not necessary. And that audience, this is a very family-friendly
Yeah, and
franchise.
it closes, think about like the first time you saw Star Wars, it closes that whole audience off if you were to go R. There's all those little kids that want to see Star Wars, and,
Yeah.
we want it to be part of their generation and their coming of age. So I feel like it would actually do the franchise a disservice.
If you don't swear, and you don't have nudity and sex, and you don't have a lot of blood, despite the violence, if
Yeah.
you don't actually show blood,
Yeah.
you can get away with almost anything.
You can even
and
have
get
some nudity
PG-13.
nowadays
Yeah, even a
and
little bit of nudity.
PG-13.
But you know Star Wars isn't going to have nudity. You
Yeah.
know they're not going to have swearing. And they're probably going to really limit, if any at all,
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Lightsabers cutting people in half.
Yeah.
The lightsaber cauterizes
Yeah.
the wounds,
Yeah.
and there's no blood, you see.
Same with the blasters.
Yeah, same with blasters. No blood. I mean, they can
way
do almost
cleaner. I
anything
mean-
and still get PG-13.
How good was our AMC Movie Talk Star Wars get up that one of our fans just did? Did you see it?
I did
They
not.
tweeted it to us. There's half of us, we're on the dark side, and half
Oh,
of us.
I did see that.
I'm a
yes.
Jedi, no big deal.
I'm Vader,
No
I
big deal.
believe, and Dennis was Yoda, if I remember correctly. Dennis was Yoda. Oh, and Miri was the Emperor.
Yes.
Miri was the Emperor.
Good job.
All right, let's take two more quick.
Joshua Rathmill wants to know if we will ever get a National Treasure 3.
I still think so. There's money to be made. I mean, that franchise has an audience, and the genre, the style, always sells tickets. I gotta believe, and Nick Cage is not exactly turning down a lot of jobs right now. So yeah, I do still believe it's going to happen. Any other thoughts?
We're getting a Night of the Museum 3. We'll probably get.
Good point.
And Nick Cage, I don't know if you saw Joe. Did anyone?
Oh, I did not.
He
but I-
was sensational in it. So dark. And Ty Sheridan from
two
Mud.
very different people.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're both really talented young actors,
Yes.
though. They have that in common. But it's really, really dark. But Nick Cage was just an indie passion project. But yeah, I don't need to see that film personally. I thought the first one was fun, and the second
I don't
one's
need to
like
see any of
okay.
them.
The first one's fine.
First one's
I like
entertaining.
adventures.
I didn't like the
adventures.
second one. I didn't like the second one, but the first one was actually better than Da Vinci Code because I remember watching Da Vinci Code after National
I liked
Treasure,
Da
and I
Vinci
was like,
Code.
I thought Da Vinci
Oh,
Code was a botch.
Probably because I
That was
read the book and
terrible.
I did
loved
not.
it.
I didn't like
I loved the
Yeah.
I
book.
thought the
Didn't like the
chemistry
movie.
between Tom Hanks and
Audrey Tautou.
Oh,
She's
terrible.
so
Did not work.
Terrible.
Amelie.
And you know,
She
that
is
was
the
one of
cutest.
to me, Da Vinci Code is one of those examples of really sticking to the source material does not
a
always
fault.
work.
Yeah,
I agree.
no, I agree.
Because
The book
their
was 10
book
times
is
better.
different
Yeah.
than the screen, man. You got to adapt, and
Yeah.
they should have
Yeah.
adapted more. All right, well, last question from Twitter, and we'll call it a day.
Eric Mariano wants to know if you guys have heard anything new on a Jonny Quest movie.
As a matter of fact, I tweet every once in a while with actually the producers of the movie watch AMC Movie Talk, and they will tweet me once in a while. And I haven't talked to either one of them in a while about the film, but now that you mention it, I was kind of curious about Jonny Quest, and so I'll follow up. I'll ask around and see what I
John
can find out.
Campea as Jonny Quest.
Yeah, not quite the right age range.
Hey.
But have you guys heard anything?
Nope.
No,
No.
haven't.
Not
Right,
a
I'll
thing.
look into it. I'll look into it, see what we can find out. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of AMC Movie Talk. Don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters everywhere right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is playing right now, and we're about to go from here back to our other studio to record an AMC spoilers review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Look for that online later tonight. Also, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button, click the thumbs up button, and if you want an audio-only version of this podcast, look in the description of this video, and you'll find links to our Stitcher and our iTunes. I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my left, Miss Miri Jetikin. Miri, where can people find you online?
People can find me on Twitter at Miri the Jedi and Instagram at Miri the Jedi. It's very easy.
To my right, the one and the only Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on YouTube ThinkHero Pro.
Of course, the senior editor of movie news here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach, who's about to get on a plane and go watch Godzilla. Where can people find you online?
She sure is. On Twitter at Amy Rosie. Thanks.
And our lovely one-handed host today, who apparently messed with some kind of Jedi or something, Miss Chrisley Kennedy. Chrisley, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chrisley.
And you can find me on the various social media channels at John Campea. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.